Okay, so WBA regular champion Jimmy McDonnell managed to successfully defend his title against Liborio Solis. But this fight was definitely not without controversy because Liborio Solis, to me, to most of the audience in the crowd, and to most of the spectators that I've seen online, on YouTube, in forums, and so on and so forth, think that Solis won the fight. I mean, I definitely thought that Solis won the fight. I thought it was a 7-5 or 8-4 type of victory, and I thought that, I mean, just he controlled the action throughout. I thought, he was a clear victor, and to me, like 7-5 is being generous to McDonnell because it very well could have been like more of a 9-3 type of a fight for Liborio Solis, who pretty much controlled the action, especially in the early rounds and in the mid rounds. It wasn't really until about round 5, round 6, where Jimmy McDonnell started to come on a little bit, managed to get his timing down, managed to get a rhythm down, and start to come back into the fight. But even then, I thought that Liborio Solis was still controlling the action, controlling the pace, controlling the distance. He was landing that chopping overhand right that he managed to drop Shinsuke Yamanaka with twice in their fight last year, in what was a great fight, a great, fantastic fight. And even though Yamanaka pretty much dominated on the scorecards, Liborio Solis made him work every single round in order to win those rounds. So, and it was pretty much the same here, man. But except for I thought that Solis was clearly winning most of the rounds. Wasn't until probably around about like round 6 through 9 where McDonnell had a nice little bit of a surge. Managed to start timing Solis. Solis started to slow down a little bit, got a little bit winded. His overall aggression kind of slowed down. The tempo slowed down for him. He wasn't doing quite as much side to side, so McDonnell was able to kind of step back and time him coming in. With the height and reach advantage that he had, because Solis is a bit on the short side, especially compared to McDonnell. McDonnell's about 5'10", Solis is only 5'4". But Solis still, I mean, I thought finished fairly strong. That 12th round was a toss-up. But even with that, McDonnell just didn't do enough, in my opinion, to win the fight. And the judges, all three of them had Jamie McDonnell winning. They had it 115, 113, 117, 111, and 116, 112, all for McDonnell. And that is just really a travesty, especially for Liborio Solis, because this fight would have been able to potentially launch him into the WBA unification, basically, against Rashid Warren, where he would have made a good payday, a solid PBC payday, or a rematch with Shinsuke Yamanaka for a unification, which would have been another good payday. Solis hasn't been without his good paydays in the past. He fought Koi Kono in Japan, managed to defeat him. Fought Daiki Kameda in Japan, managed to defeat him. Both close decisions, but managed to pull it off on the opponent's home turf, which is definitely applaudable. But here against Jimmy McDonnell, man, he just wasn't. He won the fight, but he didn't get the decision, and it's really unfortunate for him because now he'll probably make a tenth of the purse that he would have made against either a Yamanaka or a Warren. Now he's probably gonna wind up having to fight in Venezuela. Fighting for peanuts, basically. Probably the difference between making maybe 10 grand for his next fight, or he would have made 6 figures for his next fight had he won this fight and got a matchup against Warren or Yamanaka. So it's really unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate to see some of these guys that come from a lot of these places that are like deeply impoverished, and even if they may have had some good paydays in the past, that's no guarantee. The future's never guaranteed. You never know what may happen, today, tomorrow, the next day, and so it's unfortunate to see a guy kind of get some opportunity stripped of him for just bad decisions, bad decision making, bad judgment calls, basically, and it's really unfortunate to see it happen to guys that aren't necessarily big names in their own right, so they can't just immediately rebound and get another big fight or another big payday after maybe 1 or 2 fights. So for Solis, it's gonna be a bit of a trek. It'll probably take him a year, if not more, to kind of recover from the bad decision that happened to him. I thought that he clearly won the fight. I thought he showed himself to be one of the top bantamweights in the world, taking out who I, before this fight, considered to be the number 2 bantamweight in the world. Right behind Yamanaka. I thought that McDonnell was the number 2 guy. I'm kind of rethinking that at the moment now. Especially considering I thought Solis beat him. If anything, shit, Solis is probably the number 2 fighter at the weight class. Probably him. There's you got Tomoki Kameda up there as well, who I thought actually got robbed against McDonnell in the first fight. The second fight I thought was more of a draw. But even still, I thought McDonnell has been kind of the beneficiary of some pretty close decisions there. I'm not sure exactly what the judges are seeing with the guy, but hey, he's getting the decisions. However it may be. It'll be interesting to see though if McDonnell does wind up fighting Warren in a unification. That's a pretty interesting fight, a pretty solid fight. I thought that Warren actually was pretty fortunate to get the decision in the second fight with Juan Carlos Payano. I thought Payano won both fights. But he managed to get the decision. Hey, maybe Payano versus Solis. That would be an excellent fight. Two guys that kind of were on the wrong end, or even Kameda versus Solis. The three of them have been the guys that I thought were the winners who weren't able to get the decisions, which is just really unfortunate. Another actually unfortunate happening at the bantamweight division was Takuma Inoue, Naoya Inoue's brother, was about to be fighting Marlon Tapales for the WBO title on one of the New Year's cards that Japan tends to hold. Pretty much a yearly anniversary type deal. And he wound up injuring his right hand, so now he's out of that fight. Tapales has no opponent now for that card. I'm not even sure if that fight is going to be scrapped completely. Most likely, since it was going to be a Japanese card in televised in Japan. So Tapales, of course, not being Japanese, he's probably going to be a tough break for him in a major way. So of course, you also have Lee Haskins out there with the IBF. That'd be a potential big fight for Jimmy McDonnell should he happen to get it. But overall, it's really just kind of a shame to see what happened with Solis, man. I thought that he won the fight, and really I think that he deserves another opportunity. Whether it's against McDonnell or against some of the other guys. At least Eddie Hearn seemed like he was open to the idea. He said that he felt that Solis did a good job, that the scorecards were too wide, and I hope that he does. I definitely hope that Solis manages to get another chip at it, another shot at it. So, McDonnell was talking about the possibility of moving up to super featherweight, and who knows? He may just do that, especially since super featherweight, is somewhat wide open in one sense, in terms of not necessarily having major star power. Although the top guys definitely are still very, very tough customers. I'm not sure I like Jimmy McDonnell's chances against the very top of the division. Guillermo Rigondeaux, of course, need not be even mentioned. Just the fact that tremendous skills, big power. Neomar Semenyo, really a great spoiler, fantastic defensive fighter, just a guy that's very awkward, tricky, almost like the light middleweight Carlos Molina, very similar type of a style, just very tricky and gangly, and ties you up, hits you on the break, makes his own breaks, and then hits you and all that stuff. You got Jonathan Guzman, who's just an aggressive, power punching brute. Jesse Magdaleno, who cleaned Nonito Donair's clock and showed that he had incredible speed, incredible power. And, not necessarily incredible power, but just incredible speed, great slickness, good power, definitely respectable power. He managed to rock Donair a couple times, close to stopping him as well. So, I'm not sure if that'll be the best route for McDonnell to take, but who knows? Maybe he's just outgrowing the division, and that's just the best opportunity for him, because he may be at risk of losing to a guy that's not even on that level at bantamweight. But, I think that Solis deserved the decision. Can't say that enough. And I'd like to see him get another opportunity. I'd definitely still like to see a rematch between him and Yamanaka. Yamanaka managed to give Moreno a rematch, even though Moreno was a closer fight than Solis. I think that Solis definitely still deserves, another big opportunity. So I'd like to see it happen. So that's all that said. I think I'm just going to wrap this one up. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.